Hey guys, so you know the drill, you know what we're doing here, you know what we're watching here. Holger Rune against Tomás Etcheverry. I believe that Vansh was already backstage, but then he left, so he's probably going to be here with us very shortly. On my screen right now, it's basically Holger Rune serving first point, so we are right on time. And the first point will end with a forehand unforced error. Lots of depth in that backhand of Etcheverry. I don't know why I put an accent like that, but of Etcheverry, and Rune did not manage to run it around in time. Why is this an exciting match? As sort of Terry says in the chat, we are still seeing. Hey Terry as well. Right, Rune. Let's see what you are made of. We are definitely seeing that, like in the process of sort of checking out where Rune is exactly, because as you probably know, since Wimbledon until Basel, he only had one win, and that was over Felix Auger-Aliassime in Beijing. Really good match actually, and that tournament as a whole did not sort of made me foresee the issues that Rune was going to have after that. I still don't really know where he stands, because yesterday against Sebastian Baez in the second round, I like watched a couple of games only, and the couple of games that I watched were really close. Like that was when Baez was still keeping up with Rune. I did see a fair chunk of his round one against Kecmanovic, and he was down again. He was actually on the verge of losing to Kecmanovic again after dropping to him in Stockholm as well last week. And yeah, this time Rune sort of middle of set two, let's say 1-6, 3-4 down, 3-4 with a break. He just turns on his forehand, you know. It's a ridiculous shot when it's working like that. He blasts 1,000 unbelievable winners until the end of the match, and then he actually wins it. How is this one gonna go? Who knows? Etcheverry certainly not an indoor hardcourt player, but we've talked about him on this channel a few times that this year he has really improved his off clay game, which probably is the sort of freedom that getting a lot of points on clay, getting to that ranking of around 30 gives you, because he's basically able to keep playing these events. You know, don't not worry about the points too much. And yeah, he has improved. Let's see how he handles that. If it is like a long baseline grind fest, you would like Etcheverry's chances for sure. That's how he beat Murray, and that's what he loves. The guy literally won an over 4 hour match on the Challenger Tour last year or 2021. I think it was last year, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was last year. One of my favorite matches of the season for sure against Renzo Olivo. And yeah, he wins things like that, you know. This year at the US Open and at Wimbledon, he also played a 4 hour 30 minute match at both of these slams, and both times he won. At the US it was against Tomás Etcheverry, and Wimbledon it was against Zapata Miralles, although I do believe that that one against Zapata Miralles was actually spread out into 2 days because of the rain. And he has already locked up 2 breakpoints. I see that Vansh is still not here. But he saved the first one. Aggressive play, goes to the net, closes it out without an issue. Oh, we're not getting a Facebook like from Jake Silk. You can tell him to just log on to his phone and give us a like. How will the channel survive without your dad liking all of our stuff? Another very quick serve +1 play from Rune though saves him the second breakpoint as well, backhand down the line. Again, that's what the serve set him up for. And yeah, last year when Rune had this huge rise indoors, basically when Patrick Muratoglu joined his team, although that likely was a bit of a coincidence, but anyway, like joined his team, in a more thorough manner than before. And yeah, when that happened, Rune's serve was definitely one of the things that improved. So let's see if he can also mimic some of that. As a Polish person, I sort of want him to not to do that, because he is the number 8 player currently in the race to Turin, whereas Hurkacz, if he wins tomorrow against Ugo Umber, he would jump to number 9, so overtaking Taylor Fritz. And if it's a Rune Hurkacz final and Hurkacz loses it, it would be extremely tough to make Turin from that point. If he wins against Rune in the final, I believe it would still be like very close. It would still be Rune ahead, but everything would be still left to play for. Yeah, basically, Rune would be 135 points ahead if the situation is like that. In fact, if Rune just makes the semis and Hurkacz wins the title, Rune would still be ahead, but by just 15 points. So everything would be open ahead of Paris and also the last week of Sofia Metz. Etcheverry paying the price here for his very defensive positioning after the return here. Rune with a nice forehand dropper, and he wins the first game. Although it wasn't easy, 2 break points. And yeah, what else? There was something else. Will any opponent other than Hurkacz in Basel tell us? Tell us what? Whether what he's made of. Um, Today we can see what he's made of physically. I think even with how solid Etcheverry's backhand is and how much more he's getting out of his serve, the forehand obviously will work in any conditions. I think mostly it's a physical test for Rune rather than actually game wise. Although if he was playing like he did against Kecmanovic in the first set and a half, then yeah, I mean he absolutely can lose to Etcheverry even in a not a grueling physical contest. But I get what you mean. Then again, in the semis, Shevchenko or Oger Aliasim, I think that's a tougher route than what Hurkacz has. Even with Umber having this excellent record against the top 10, against the top 20, I do think that for Rune, potentially, I probably would like Shevchenko or Oger Aliasim's chances rather than Umber's. But it's close anyway. I mean, basically, earlier this week, we stated that if Hurkacz beats Deminor or Grigspor, he becomes the favorite for the title. And I think that holds up. I still think that he is the favorite for the title, although obviously not a prohibitive one, if you may. Also in Vienna right now, we have Zverev against Rublev. They've just started. Very similar timing to Basel because both tournaments started their first matches at 2 p.m. And then two of them have already finished. Actually, it was one set less in Vienna, but apparently the sets were longer or something. And and now we have the third match in both events. Keith Richards' obituary. Okay. Oh my goodness, yeah. I was like, is Keith Richard dead as well? Yeah. Preemptive obituaries. That's interesting. I mean, gotta be quick, I guess. But does that mean that he's like, sick or something? Is he on the verge of death? Or is it just because of the age, I suppose? Well, he is 79. Fair enough. Doesn't seem like he's sick or anything, though. 80 next month, yeah. It's a good thing they don't make you write your own obituary preemptively. That would be quite a stunning way to go out. First, you write your obituary, and then maybe I'll do that and sort of update it every single month. Well, obituaries aren't that long. I don't actually have to update it every month. Anyway, Etcheverry started his first service game pretty well as well. There was a point where he was just dictating with the forehand and eventually got an error. I think the previous one he actually lost, but I kind of missed it thinking about obituaries. But he's still 40-15 up, so looks like he should be cruising towards the first game pretty soon. And indeed, as Holger misses this backhand cross court. One game all, I think, pretty much as well as Etcheverry could have imagined it, really, so far. He did pressure the Rune. Of course, he could have broken in the first game, but he did pressure the Rune serve, right? And basically, right now, he's he held pretty comfortably, and so far isn't looking inadequate in the matchup. I don't know if this was really ever a possibility that he would be looking inadequate in the matchup, but a few months ago I would have said maybe yeah. But yeah, it seems like Etcheverry is doing really well and in their heart as well right now. It would have been hilarious, by the way, if we got an Etcheverry Baez ATP 500 indoor quarterfinal. I kind of wish that we did because that would have been a brilliant story. the two Argentines with like zero indoor experience. Well, zero is a stretch, but like Baez, I think, had a 210 or something like that indoor record. I actually haven't checked that for Etcheverry. I think officially it was like 2.8 for Baez, but I'm saying 2.10 because there were a couple of matches that they were moved indoors and and the likes. Etcheverry actually has only played 3 events indoors ever in his career. Last one was Tel Aviv last year, the ATP 250, when he beat Karatsev. I remember that, so that was quite a shock at the time. Although Karatsev, obviously one of the easiest players to upset, and he also played Ismaning apparently in 2020. I think that's also the year when Federico Derbonis played at the German Carpet Challenger, which actually I'm driving to tomorrow, coincidentally. And he beat Jack Draper in the qualifying. That's sick. And he lost to Prajnesh Gunneswaran. So as you can see, it was quite a long while ago. And of course, the carpet courts of Ismaning also don't really compare to Basel, even though Basel is probably the fastest of the two ATP 500, the faster of the two ATP 500s that we have this week. So yeah, Baez such a very little indoor experience. Baez didn't manage to beat Rune. Let's see if Etcheverry can do it. This was actually a very short backhand return from Etcheverry. I was kind of surprised with that, but he, well, it does get an error from Rune, although I don't think that's really something we can credit Thomas Martin for. Ooh, if that forehand went in from Etcheverry, it would have given him a lot of advantage in this point. But it's just out. Well, looking at the close call, it's not maybe just out, but they still showed us a close call. So that tells you something. That tells you that was fairly close at the very least. 137, you wish. I actually don't have a Rolling Stones hoodie. I think it was the Who hoodie. Oh, so it does exist. Terry is there with the knowledge that things like this exist. So you can write your own obituary. Multi-million subscribed, talking tennis, aged 137. I wonder which one of these is more likely to happen. I hope that the first one. I honestly wouldn't wish you to live 137 years. I mean, what sort of quality of life would that be at 137? Our bodies are essentially programmed to go like 90 to 100, maybe a bit more. I think at 137, although everyone is different, maybe we'll just improve the medicine and etc and science so much. By the way, I suppose, John, you're not in the Octa Smart Essentials mattress advertisement that I just saw, because there was a guy who looked exactly like you. But I presume you didn't actually play in that. Although, maybe there are still a lot of things I don't know about you. That would have been a fantastic counter from Holger Rune, but he just misses this very sharp angle forehand cross court. And yeah, Etcheverry having a bit of fun with the forehand so far. Left all the right side of the court, like basically the whole right side of the court open for this Rune shot, but Holger did not manage to make it in. I mean, I said the whole side open. It wasn't easy, to handle that pace and the spin. So it wasn't like super open, but basically he did make the right call, to step around and just give Rune a tough enough ball. So still a deuce, and for the second game in a row on his own serve, Holger Rune is struggling. Again, really good drop shot. Really using the fact that after his backhand, Etcheverry was somewhat far behind the baseline, and Rune instantly steps in to cover that. This time, I think he probably got it before the second bounce, but couldn't get it back over the net. Seems like it's going to be a pretty good play for Rune in this match if he just can keep putting that much pressure on the Etcheverry back and sort of keep pushing him behind the baseline. Then simply, it's the matter of Rune has a ball on his forehand. He can go very powerful into the other corner or a soft drop shot, and you sort of have to guess what's going to happen. Now they're trading backhands cross court, and it's actually Etcheverry who manages to switch down the line. That's really good, and that's a sensational point from him, really. He was the one who risked it. He was the one who went down the line when Rune, was just willing to trade with him. Then he actually got to a forehand down the line that was more sort of conventional for him, more of what he wants to play in general in the first place, and finishes it off with a very good touch on the volley as well. So, yeah, honestly, one of the this is exactly what Etcheverry wants to play here, and really a perfect point. Runner of the drop shot again, but this time it's not as good. Should be a point for Etcheverry indeed. He again had to pick it off at the net, but it was really easy. Rune basically didn't even make a run for it, and yeah, this time the drop shot fails for Holger. That's gonna be the third breakpoint of the match, probably for the Argentinian. But there's an ace down the tee. Lots of good spin as well, driving away from the service box. Oh, and Jake Silk has hit like. Thank you. Good game today. Alfonso says. We're certainly hoping for this one to be a good game. And I hope we get it. So far, it's been delivering. It's close. Etcheverry certainly not going down without a fight, as maybe some would expect. I don't know. Probably given that Holger has been so all over the place, or actually not even all over the place in recent weeks. I mean, he's just been losing. Um, Probably not as big a favorite as he usually would be against Etcheverry in these conditions. Holger is also the defending runner-up, if you can even call it that. He did finish second in Basel 2022, obviously to Felix Auger-Aliassime. Etcheverry, as I already gave you the whole list of his indoor tournaments played in his career, obviously he has not played in Basel yet. Besides this year, when he already has 2 wins. Andrei Rublev also 4-1 up on Zverev in Vienna. I don't know if that's a surprise. That's probably a 50-50-ish match to me. Yeah, that's how it was priced as well. After that, in Vienna, there's also going to be Tiafoe Sinner to end the day, whereas in Basel, we still have Shevchenko playing against Auger-Aliassime, which also should be quite exciting. As we stand, Rune has finished off that second game. So he is 2-1 up, and we are waiting for Etcheverry to serve again. I muted myself for a moment so that you wouldn't be able to hear me chewing at this apple. I will probably finish it off later. This was supposed to be, of course, a stream that I was doing with Vansh. I'm not sure actually where he is, but then I would be, you know, I would have more time to eat. Obviously, streams are exactly for that, eating. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of streams where people just sit down and eat, although usually it's probably women. Um, anyway, this stream is definitely more about tennis than that. So, Etcheverry lost that first point in the fourth game, but now he's gonna serve to the Holger forehand, get a pretty good opportunity on the +1, but Holger recovers and nice point as well. He was pulled really deep into his backhand corner at one point, but recovered with some good depth, and then he steps into the inside out forehand, goes to the net, easy finish, no scenic route taken, love 30 on the Etcheverry serve. Wow, that's a rocket of a forehand from Etcheverry, though. Very typical play for him. Out wide, gets the ball to the forehand, and just goes down the line with ease. That's basically what you would always see him do on clay, right? Just everything about the serve is designed for him to get that first forehand after the serve, and that's how he should play. That's playing up to his strengths. This +1 forehand, though, he actually misses. He tries to go for an angle that was a bit too narrow. And now it's going to be Rune with 2 breakpoints. A similar opportunity was there for Etcheverry in the second game of the match. No, sorry, first game of the match. Whereas now it's going to be the Dane who possesses that sort of power over his opponent. And let's see how Etcheverry can react to it. Again, block return. This time there's some really good depth on the Etcheverry forehand, but again, sort of similarly to two or three points ago, lots of depth to the Rune corner, but he's very quick to cover it. He plays a deep response, and Etcheverry finally makes that error. Lots of forehand block returns from Etcheverry, from Rune here, and whereas on one point, basically, he didn't try to block it. He returned it, topspin, and Etcheverry just cleaned up the +1 forehand down the line. The block returns actually have been pretty tough for Etcheverry. They're shorter, they're lower under the net. Maybe it's the sort of type of bounce that he's not fully comfortable with, given that he's generally better in higher bouncing conditions, and you could probably say that Holger's block return won him that game. Ooh, that's an interesting point as well. Rune was already at the net and had everything he really could want from that point, but he doesn't finish it off with the smash. Ooh, Etcheverry thought he had him with another forehand down the line rocket, but Rune just slides into it and plays this wonderful counter down the line of his backhand side. Again, when Rune is deep in his backhand corner, he is actually really dangerous so far. You don't want to have Rune on the ropes, because then he comes up with this. That's what we've been watching in this match so far. Obviously, you still want to have Rune on the ropes, but...
Hey Damien, hey everyone.
Oh, hey Vansh, yes.
Yes, I've been trying forever to try to get in somehow, but my camera was not working. So
No worries, no worries. Have you been watching, though? The match,
yes,
not the stream, lol.
I have seen, although I missed the fourth game. So I guess that's when Runa broke serve.
Yes, indeed. There was just a couple of good block returns that sort of put the pressure on the Etcheverry +1 forehand.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's really it. I mean, one of them he pulled wide. That was for two breakpoints, I think, for Rune. And then the other, Rune just produced a pretty good backhand counter, not like the one that he got in this game, which was just astonishing,
Yeah,
but
I
like
saw that one.
just pretty deep to the Etcheverry backhand, and that was enough.
Do you think Runa is making better decisions this week, just playing a lot more solid? He looks healthier.
Um, is he playing a lot more solid though? Like the match against Kecmanovic, he just won by slapping his forehand 1,000 times.
I guess
Um,
the match after that, after the Kecmanovic
yeah,
one was pretty ugly, but
yeah. Well, it wasn't
the
ugly from middle of set two, I would say. From middle of set two, it was just ridiculous
yeah,
shot making on the forehand side. But yeah, against Bias, I barely saw that, so I can't really speak for that.
yeah,
But so far in this one, he has been very dangerous when Etcheverry has him deep to his backhand corner. Like literally, Etcheverry is seemingly putting a lot of pressure on Rune, and it's actually turns out that it's Rune who's in control of the point.
okay.
So maybe there's gonna be some tactical changes in terms of in the directions on his forehand from Etcheverry, or maybe we're not gonna see Holger hold up like that. But so far, he definitely has been pretty excellent in this one. Even though 4-1 is kind of misleading because he was in trouble in both his first two service games, right?
Yeah, I mean, last year I remember during the indoor season, he was hitting second serves really big, like basically hitting 100 plus mile per hour second serves consistently and not missing, and like just dictating with the forehand. And it was a much more simplified game plan, but that's what got him all those wins.
Yeah, I think for me definitely the serving indoors last year was just absurd.
Yeah.
And yeah, right now of course he's had a pretty rough warm up for this indoor season,
Yeah.
so it's not a given that it's gonna be as good. I mean, basically it could be on the verge of finishing because, well, you only have Paris after that. He's also going to play one of the 250s because he wants to get to the ATP finals, but if he doesn't get to the ATP finals, that's kind of it.
If he has a good run in Paris, do you think he'll still? I don't think he'll play the 250s
Well,
after
that
that.
depends on the point situation.
Yeah.
Well,
Like if he's
if he's
qualified,
safe,
then yeah,
if he's
then
qualified, obviously he doesn't play.
yeah.
It's just a thing, if the qualification's uncertain. But that's for many players. I mean, all of the guys who are
Mm,
ranked like 7, 15, if they're qualified, they're not going to play Sofia Ahmed.
yeah.
It would
Oh
be
wow, what an
pointless.
angle! What an angle on the pass! Wow.
Okay, I've just seen that as well. Yeah, really went for the technical side of the shot and
Yeah.
managed to pull it off. Managed to pull it off absolutely perfectly.
And another very good forehand, which Etcheverry can't get to. Started with the return, got it pretty deep cross court, opened the court up nicely.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's the sort of points that he was getting against Kecmanovic left and right at some point. Yeah,
Hmm.
especially end of set two, probably.
Yeah. So we know obviously he's working with Boris Becker, but is Lars Christensen still in the picture?
That's a good question. I guess he hasn't really been seen in Basel, right? At least I don't think I have.
Yeah, I mean the camera's just been showing Becker a lot, so
Yeah, I mean, it could
even
be a
on Basel.
thing that they're just constantly showing Becker, but it would be a shame, for Christensen to be announced as a returning member to the team, and then
Hmm.
yeah. So actually, that guy is not there anymore. And obviously over the years, I mean, he's been with Holger since he was a kid, so
Yeah,
they've done some ridiculously good work together.
I guess the off
More
season
than
will
that,
be
we can't.
interesting. The off season will be interesting to see what Rune does to
Yeah, it's also
polish up his
like
game.
it's not certain that this is really fixed, right? Like depending on his results in the next few weeks, that could also lead to some changes in his coaching
Yeah,
situation, even for the off season, right? So
yes.
um,
So he plays a very good
basically,
game there, and now he's serving
yeah.
for the side. Yeah. Sorry. Continue.
No, no, I can't remember what I was trying to say. I think I was just trying to say that um, his last few months have been such a mess, and also the coaching situation coming into it, the fact that he wasn't winning. So basically, well, injury as well, of course. So yeah, I'm just saying that there's a lot of things that can be different compared to how we see them right now after after the off season,
Yeah.
both in terms of the team and just even what he's going to be showing on the court. Because you could even make the argument that he's sort of, well, I don't want to say wait. I kind of want to say it. He kind of wasted a year more or less if he doesn't qualify for the ATP finals. I know he's made
Mm,
an ATP 1000 final twice actually, but like, has he actually made much progress if he doesn't qualify for the ATP finals? Of course, some of that wouldn't be on him really. Mostly it
yeah.
would be on the injury after Wimbledon, which really ruined everything. Because by Wimbledon he was on a great track. Um,
Yeah.
Definitely, only real problem was still the fitness and how he, for example, at Roland Garros, right, couldn't compete to the best of his, like to his highest standards.
Yeah. And he said the injury has been, or his mom said that the injury has been a factor since the end of the clay season.
Yeah.
Although his grass
Maybe the
season
grass is something,
was
right? Yeah,
was decent for a first real go at it.
yeah.
Uh,
Maybe that's what we can sort of. If Rune doesn't qualify for the ATP finals, maybe we can sort of end with that, right? Just
yeah,
yeah, he did have a good grass season. This will help him going on forwards, and just more consistency at the ATP 1000 level at first. Of course, later
yeah,
on, that all went to where.
yeah. I think it could have been even better had he won one of those matches against. Well, had he won the Monte Carlo final,
Yeah,
that felt like a missed
that
chance.
that would have been a real opportunity. But of course, again, you cannot really blame him because he was so tired, right?
He was, yeah,
Can you even blame him for the smashes? Sort of. But he was sort of out of it from the very first. I mean, from the very first game, I think you could already see that he is struggling and trying to keep points shorter. But I guess that's also one of the best things about his game, right? That when he has to, like, he
yeah,
can just blast the ball, and when he has to, he can play very good reactive counter-punching
right.
tennis.
He just needs to
The
figure out how to
versatility.
mesh the two and like
Yeah, he hasn't yet.
because he
Yes,
has both
absolutely.
options. Yes, he does. He has many options in his game. It's quite a
He's really complete, but hasn't really figured out his sort of identity yet, if you might.
yes, yes,
And I maybe, yeah, maybe I was a little too harsh with the fact that if he doesn't qualify for the ATP finals, his season would not be much progress. But I guess I was just sort of thinking, especially at the beginning of the season, when I saw him at the Australian Open, I was like, okay, so he's not ready to contend for slams again, but this time next year he should be. Whereas I don't
mm,
really have that feeling at the moment that he will be a main contender for the Australian Open. But who knows? I mean, at Roland
mm,
Garros, you felt that everyone felt that he was probably one of the main contenders if his body held up. It didn't.
yeah. I do also feel like I mean, it's still obviously very early to say sample size is small, but
Uh huh.
outdoor hard court versus indoor hard court, there is a discrepancy still in the results at the ATP level, right? But you don't expect that to continue.
I mean, in challengers, he also wasn't really doing much winning in on outdoor hard courts. I guess
Yeah.
I'm
So
not sure he played much, but still,
mm,
indoors was definitely better for him.
yeah. I mean, I guess all we really have is Indian Wells, Miami, Australia. I mean, he kept making the fourth round.
Yeah,
I guess Indian Wells was third round versus Stan. But I still can't believe he somehow spammed his way out of the Bodig van de Zandschulp Munich final. I mean, that for me was just like, what a steal that was. Like he somehow won that match.
yeah. I
And then
mean,
even the match against Cerundolo in Roland Garros in the fourth round.
yeah, another one, but of course, in terms of Roland Garros, like he was then dead for the
Yes,
root quarterfinal. But
basically didn't show up for the first two sets.
yeah, and again, like this was just because he was this destroyed physically.
Hmm. By the way, speaking of destroyed, Rublev in that first set against Zverev, I didn't get to watch a whole lot of it, but 6-1.
Yeah, me neither. 6-1 is definitely quite harsh. Is
Hmm.
Zverev gonna, for the third time in as many weeks, show that maybe he's not as close to the top five ish players as we thought?
Yeah,
I guess the ATP finals will be a nice test for that as well.
he
I mean,
should like
that's
the
basically
conditions
where
there,
you
but the
get.
thing is, yeah, he.
Hmm.
I guess 6-1 is a little bit harsh because they had a very long fourth game, which ended up going Rublev's way, uh, and then he just pulled away for the set. But I do wonder, like, how has this matchup become so suddenly lopsidedly in favor of Andre? I guess it could also be the timing of the last two matches, right? One was Dubai and one was in Bastad on clay. And then now you would expect, Zverev to probably get closer, but I think before this year, Andre hadn't even won a set in their matches.
Yeah, before
Just
2023, as Rublev was awful in this Zverev matchup. Like it was literally almost worse than the Medvedev matchup for him.
Yeah,
And right now it's not like that anymore. But basically, I see Arthur Fields in the live stream. What's happening?
I see Arthur Fils
Uh,
in the live stream.
I'm not
Excuse me.
sure.
Okay.
But what I was
Hi, Arthur, if
going
you're
to
listening.
say, what I was going to say is that yeah, it felt at the beginning of the season that okay, Rublev is beating Zverev now because of course Zverev is not back to his best. But like by this point, the excuse is out, right? Like if Rublev beats him here, there's no excuse of he's just returned from the injury. So
Yeah,
what was the other match but that they played besides Dubai? I keep forgetting.
Bastad.
Oh yeah,
Bastad, yeah, I think it
Borstad,
was
yeah,
just
Borstad,
yeah,
yeah,
Bastad.
yeah. You're 100% right. Yeah, I just keep forgetting it because it was like a. I guess I don't know. I
It
guess I just didn't
was
care
a
about it too much.
quarterfinal. Yeah, it was a quarterfinal like the week after Wimbledon, 250.
Yeah, and I also keep forgetting that Rublev won it this year. I'm always like, two titles? Where did he win the second title?
Yeah, he's lost
Um,
like three finals, I think, and won two titles.
yeah, and then apparently Borstad is just hard for me to remember,
Hmm.
regardless if it's the Rune, sorry, the Rublev titles or if it's Zverev versus Rublev matchup. Maybe it's just a thing about Rublev that he's hard for me to remember.
Yeah. Actually, just like Medvedev, he also hasn't defended a title. He's
Yeah,
won 14 titles, but hasn't defended one.
which doesn't mean a whole lot, but
It's
I
just,
I, I
yeah.
I I know what you're going for. But yeah, And
Like
actually, I
I'm in
saw
Medvedev
today that
mode this week.
some Medvedev fans, some Medvedev fans are like sort of
Uh,
obsessed with this.
with what?
You don't
Oh,
need to write the whole essays about the fact
he
that
hasn't defended.
Daniil hasn't
I don't
defended
know.
a
It's just one of those
title and
cool
like
things. Like
why it's
you
okay.
won 20 of them. You won 20 titles, but
No,
like
no,
you're
no.
not duplicated.
I know what you mean. I don't mind, the stat. It's definitely quite interesting, but like I just don't think as a Medvedev fan you should be sort of sitting down and obsessing about it. You know?
But it would be kind of cool if like if it, imagine he just wins everything once before he retires. Like that would be like a very Medvedev thing to do, wouldn't it?
It
Like
would
just,
be cool, but yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's
just
like you
not gonna
just win
happen, right?
every title one time. Like just at least on a hard court, like do the whole sweep. I mean, he's almost done it. He's like much closer than he is not. So, but he definitely doesn't want that. Like he wants to duplicate. Like I've heard him say that because he's been asked so much about it in interviews, and he's like, "No, I hope to defend one like soon."
Of course he does.
Yeah,
Who wouldn't? And Vienna, he does seem to have a great chance. Although
yeah,
the semis there might be like very high profile
yeah,
with Medvedev, Tsitsipas, Rublev, and let's say Sinner. I mean, all of them are de facto qualified for the ATP finals already because no one. I mean, there's no way Tsitsipas is going to be out. I know he's not in mathematically yet, but he's
yeah.
definitely going to be there.
Right.
Feels
That
and
was
most likely Sinner in the
that was
bottom of
kind of.
Novak's
I
draw.
watched some of the. Did you watch any of the Tsitsipas Goyo match today?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Is the Paris draw already made? Okay.
I think it's basically out now, right?
So
Paris
when does
draw
it? Well, wait. When
starts
does
on
it
Sunday.
start?
Starts on Sunday.
Is it starts on Sunday.
Yeah. Like I guess those or like two, three or four round of 64 matches will be played on Sunday. It's kind of like how what they did for Cincinnati and like
Yeah, yeah. I know. I
for
get it. I
Toronto.
get it. But that's okay. Never mind. I'll have
Yeah.
to think about it
I'll
later.
have to check out the draw. Yeah. Um, ooh, yeah. Looks like Tsitsipas could face either Felix or Struff. This is one screenshot I see. Oh yeah, looks like we can talk about the draw later, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I guess the projected quarters: top half Djokovic versus Rune, Sinner versus Rublev, and then bottom half projected quarters: Rude versus Medvedev, Tsitsipas versus Alcaraz. Oh wow, yeah,
Yeah,
Tsitsipas Alcaraz.
Etcheverry had a great chance here with the low 40 on Rune's serve, but as
Yeah.
of right now, it looks like he might not be taking it. Although he is
Ooh,
engaged with the in this super long
yes.
rally.
I don't favor Etcheverry in these cat and mouse exchanges. Not against someone as savvy as Rune.
Well, cat and mouse, no, but well, the rally that I was watching, I was actually favoring Etcheverry in, but yeah, Holger again bringing him forward to the net
Are you talking about the
and
break point?
winning the point.
Oh, I mean 30
Yeah,
40.
yeah.
Yeah, he just did not
Basic,
do enough when he got up there, but I
it,
knew that he was not going to be
it
in a
was
great
like
position.
a 30-shot rally, and
Yeah,
Etcheverry was cool with it as long as they were just playing off the ground
off
and
the ground, yeah, and
going
then
back and forth. Yeah.
yeah,
So I guess the Feels live stream is the Paris draw live stream, right? Then is
uh,
it basically a shootout between Rune and Hurkacz for Turin? Says John. I mean, no. Everyone can still. Well, everyone. There's a fair few players who can still get in with a Paris title. As of right now, these two seem like the most likely contenders. But even to overtake Fritz, Hurkacz still needs to make the final here. So
yeah.
it's not a done deal. Like I think if let's
I
say
mean,
that
Dimitrov is out, but basically everyone from Holger to Dimitrov, I mean, Holger to Shelton is still in the mix.
yeah, Shelton, Kachanov, they are very unlikely to get in because even with 1,000 points from Paris, that probably won't be enough. Probably.
Yeah,
It's not certain yet, but that probably won't be enough. Whereas Tiafoe well, he's just 5 points over Kachanov, but if he beats Sinner today, then he sort of stays alive. But if we're talking about Paul and the minor, 1,000 points from Paris, and they are actually very live again. Maybe it's already guaranteed. Even who knows? So we cannot really exclude these guys. It's definitely going to be an interesting race until the end. But
Yeah,
Rune and Hurkacz definitely seem like the most likely for me right now.
yeah,
Obviously, the Paul still needs still has some serious work to do to even overtake Fritz. But if he wins Basel, he would be sort of almost right up there with Rune. If it's Hurkacz over Rune in the final, it would be 135 points of a lead for Rune. So, in other words, Rune is
yeah.
still in the prime spot to qualify, just because
Yes,
he doesn't have to
and
do shit.
winning this
Sorry.
match will help him a lot because if he wins this, regardless of if Hurkacz wins the title, he'll still have the lead over him.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
the main advantage of being number 8 is that you don't have to do anything. I mean,
yeah,
basically
yeah,
speaking,
pretty
you
much.
just you have a certain amount of points, and you are guaranteed that if your opponents fail, and they might, who knows, if your opponents fail, you're gonna be up there.
Yeah,
Of course, they might perform, but then you still have the option of sort of catching them. So
yeah,
yeah, Rune definitely in a prime position still, despite some people saying that it might be Hurkacz, and I agree, it could be Hurkacz. He seems to be playing maybe the most consistent, the best tennis out of these guys,
yeah,
but he still has work to do, and it takes is one loss in Paris, and he's like next to out.
yeah,
And basically, I mean, if Rune won this title and Hurkacz wasn't in the final, he would also be pretty much outbearing like a Paris final, Paris semi at
yeah.
least. So it really could be over very quickly, but it also could be even entertaining until the Mets Sofia week.
Mhm. Yeah, someone bringing up Runa being defeated Djokovic twice. They are projected to meet each other in the quarters in Paris. So yeah, I mean that is something to watch out for. Of course, they still have to win. They each have to win 2 rounds to get there.
So actually, Paris does not start on Sunday. On Sunday,
It does not.
yeah,
I mean, I thought they would play like a couple of rounds.
no,
Wouldn't they? I mean, because if you look at the dates, it is
no,
I
that's
believe
not the
on the
case. No.
website. On the website, it says it is October 30th to November 5th. Oh yeah, yeah. It's October
Yeah.
30th is a Monday. So yeah, it would start on Monday. Correct.
So they're
Yeah.
basically just doing the draw a day earlier than usual.
Hmm. Yeah. Cool. That's good. Yeah, I prefer Monday start. And yeah, I mean, basically, of course, next week we also have the WTA finals. So, which is in a very good time zone for me, and also same with the most of the pairs, although not some of the earlier matches.
Yeah, Paris. I'm not sure how much I'm gonna catch. It kind of depends on what sort of facilities there will be in Ismaning. Since
Oh yeah, you're going there.
if we have like
Yes.
a full-on press office and Wi-Fi, I might catch a fair amount of Paris. If we have nothing like that, then we'll see.
How far is that
Uh,
from where you're at in Poland?
10 hours drive.
10 hour drive. So are you gonna like take the train? Or are you gonna
I'm gonna
drive?
drive
Or
tomorrow.
you're gonna drive?
Train is very rough. Like there's a lot of connections, and it would take me like 15 hours, probably, maybe more.
Hmm.
The plane costs more or less the same as the fuel, whereas going by car just gives me more mobility there because well, Ismaning is just a small village next to Munich, so I
Hmm.
still need to get to Ismaning, and I'll probably be doing that by car. I think
Is
that's
this
gonna be
your
the
first
most
time there?
convenient. Yeah, yeah. It's the only carpet challenger left on the tour, so a very nice place to check out, I think. Orange coloring as well.
Oh yeah.
Makes my eyes sore on stream every year. Now it's gonna make my eyes sore live, and also at the end of the, it's always like that, when this time of the year when Ismaning rolls around, it's like everyone is, now we get that carpet event once a year. That's nice. It's good
Is
to have
that
it
like
once a year.
I think
Uh
on
huh.
the ATP tour they had Gihon last year, which had the orange
Um,
surface. It was obviously not on carpet, but
I need to remember how Hihon looked. So let me check that. I more or less remember that because I for sure watched some matches. Well, you have like gray with the orange court, but you can
yeah.
basically type in Ismaning Challenger or whatever, and you're gonna see the court. So it's like more everything is orange basically. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, this is
uh,
way more orange than
yeah, than Hihon, yeah. And
yeah.
basically every time it's like that where everyone is excited because wow, okay, we only get it once a year, great. And then by the end of the week everyone's like, okay, just give me some slower surface, I mean some breaks please. And
Yes, I remember Dustin Brown
yeah,
playing here. I think I might have
yeah,
watched some of those highlights.
yeah, he hit like a diving volley 2 or 3 years ago in this morning.
Yeah, that's probably the one I
um
watched.
I think I posted it on Twitter from what I remember, but it's gonna be good. Did we miss anything by the way in the chat? I'm not sure. Did Rune recover overnight from the injuries or what's going on? Asked Sean. Well, basically, Rune, like a couple of weeks ago, he said that he's healthy and that he only needs like more playtime, realistically.
Yeah, it was
And
before Beijing that he
yeah,
said that. That's when he beat Felix and then lost to Dimitrov.
and Nakashima then next event,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
two
know,
games.
I know.
So no one really trusted him, but it looks like the win over Kecmanovic did give him something. It definitely gave
Mhm.
him playtime and rhythm, so what he was hoping for. And
Yeah,
yeah, I like his
and sometimes that's all
the
it
way he
takes
has improved
to
since. Hmm.
squeeze out a tough win in the early rounds. Sometimes not playing your best, catch fire at the end of a set, and then that can be enough to basically turn around your whole week and sometimes even your whole season. I mean, if you remember last year, obviously he had to save a match point. No, he had to save a match point against Wawrinka in the first round of the
Uh-huh.
Paris title.
Yeah,
And if Stan gets that return back in play, which was a second serve forehand block return that he missed in the net on one of the match points.
and that's a trademark Wawrinka shot as well.
Yeah. So if he somehow wins that point, we could be talking about Rune very differently going into this year.
Yeah, and that's of course after that we got like the most legendary ATP 1000 run ever.
I've
So
never seen a run like that. I mean, yeah, I mean to beat 5 top 10 and then your other win is against Stan. Yeah, that's
we'll never see that again
very hard to
because
beat.
it's just so hard to pull off. You basically need to be outside the top 10 yourself
Yeah.
because otherwise you're gonna be seeded and you're not gonna face 5 top 10 players even. Like it's just
Hmm.
so rare to even have this chance of facing top 10 players in an event that only has 6 rounds. That yeah, I think this is likely never to be repeated.
Yeah.
Even though theoretically it is possible, it's not like beating Federer, Nadal, Djokovic in the same event, which isn't going to be repeated because they're not playing. But yeah,
Mm.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah. Who were the 5 players? It was Rublev, Hurkacz, Alcaraz, and then Felix, and then Djokovic in the final. Yeah. Basically, did not drop a set in any of these matches until the final and after the stand win. But speaking of Shelton, I do think Shelton is in kind of a similar situation where Rune was in
Mm-hmm.
last year, where he could finish around 10 or 11 in the world, and then it would take a very good Paris week, but basically he's going to be talked about as the guy to make Turin for sure next year.
He could. I do think that there's a high chance that somewhere around let's say before the US Open, he has a good chance of like making the top 10.
Yeah,
I am a little though afraid that after the US Open he might fall off. But
yeah.
you know, that's really relating to like when he defends points, etc. We have the score on the screen actually, so you can just see it in the stats. We are still at the fourth game of Rune, so lots of long service games for the Dane here so far in this match, but he has been winning them. So another drop shot. This time he does not win the point though. Oh, now we lost the score on the screen actually, but maybe we're gonna recover it in a second. I don't know. Yeah, and also they published the qualies draw. This is starting tomorrow. Yes, absolutely, of course.
Yeah. Anything interesting there?
Safiullin Kazo opening round. I mean,
Oh,
everything is interesting, really. Saibov with Thompson, Ofner at Mane. Well, maybe not everything. I sort of lied. I don't want to see Altmaier play Zapata Miralles on an indoor hardcourt. But yeah, there's a fair few. I mean, Rusuvori, Fucovic, you could
yeah.
definitely expect to see that much in the main draw, honestly. Um, there's also Sonego playing team.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's high profile.
Good on Paris to do a live stream of the draw and also sort of host it quite a long way, quite a long while before the start of the event.
Yeah, so Nego, I remember him saving 2 match points against Team in the Rome 2021 Masters before going on to lose to Djokovic in the semis and then beating Rublev in the quarters.
Yeah, he also beats Team this year, although
Yeah, in
they've
Miami.
they're yet to play indoors. You would definitely think of Sonego probably as the favorite there. I don't know
Yeah.
how much of a favorite, but we'll see. Dominic Thiem, again, I do wonder if he's gonna play some more challengers because it seems like that should be the way to go
Yeah.
to try to secure that Australian Open main draw if it doesn't work out. If in Paris he doesn't get the big run. Diego Schwartzman also not signed up for anything yet, and also he did not get into Paris. It seems.
Didn't get into the qualies.
Yeah, I was actually quite far off. Number 18.
Oof.
Bornagoyo did pull out of Paris qualies. He didn't want to play tomorrow, apparently.
Yeah. Goyo, by the way,
Yeah.
missed a real chance to get back in that second set at the end,
Yeah.
in that last game. Basically, just 3 straight errors to get Tsitsipas back to deuce.
Another breakpoint for Etcheverry, and I mean, how many more can he have without taking one? Because that's what we're gonna learn very shortly. Etcheverry starts against Kecmanovic in Paris, by the way, and then might face Novak Djokovic for the second time this year
Mm-hmm.
after losing to him in Rome.
Wow, that's kind of interesting that Etcheverry, Djokovic, Rune, they're all in this. It's like Rome because they're also
Mhm.
you had Novak and yes. And I remember Rune's interview before he played Djokovic. The question was basically like, oh, you're facing a 6-time champion and uh, Djokovic tomorrow. Like, what are your thoughts on the match or something like that? And then Rune was like, wasn't he also a 6-time champion in Paris?
Ah, yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
So he's
And by the way, there's that break. There was a forehand that Rune quite clearly mishit, and like it was super
yeah.
soft. Etcheverry didn't really take advantage, but then Rune decided to go for a more aggressive approach with the next one, goes down the line, but misses it pretty far wide. So all the pressure that Etcheverry has managed to put on his serve so far in this match eventually pays off. On the seventh breakpoint, he does land it for the first time, and now will attempt to go up for one if he can hold. Yeah, Rune. Etcheverry Djokovic, of course, is also always a very nice story, right? Because there's this famous photo from whatever the year
Oh
was
yeah,
when
yeah,
Tomás
yeah, yeah,
Martin
yeah.
Etcheverry got his first ATP point, and he's standing there with a paper. I mean, simply a sheet of paper that says Novak Djokovic 12,000 or whatever points, Tomás
Mm,
Martin Etcheverry 1 point.
yes.
And I
With
think
that,
he did the same a while ago. I think he sort of, you know, had
mm,
another photo like that when he already had like 700 points or whatever. Right now he has a lot more. In the ATP race, he is at 1370. Ooh, no. I thought that maybe Etcheverry this time is going to prevail in this cat and mouse soft touch rally, but no. He was trying to lob Rune after the drop shot, but it's actually quite far wide. I mean, far long. But yeah, Shelton Djokovic third round. That would be exciting. But Shelton has to beat Davidovich. Well, Davidovich fucking has been injured, but then Greek Sport or Eubanks, that's tougher.
yeah. By the way, Shelton
Fritz
Djokovic is
Fields.
a projected round 3 as well.
Yeah. Fritz Fields. Second round. And Rune Wawrinka again. It's
Wow,
gonna be Rune Arnaldi, huh? Maybe. We'll see.
maybe. Oh my God, Diminor is playing Andy Murray.
Oh Jesus! I mean, Murray
Ah,
hates this draw. Scott Barkley hates this draw. There's
Claire
a fair few
Stanley as
people that
well,
I know.
and
Claire Stanley and Peter also hates
yeah.
this draw. Yes, I
Oof.
did just forget what his surname is. That's why I left it at that. Is it like Cha? No, I
Oh,
don't know. Peter's surname is like Cha. No, I don't know. Cha
I
something.
don't know.
I can't
Hurkacz
remember
versus
either.
Korda is another popcorn match.
Oh, first round.
Yeah,
That's awful for Hurkacz
it
and
is.
his chances of making Paris.
Hmm. Let's see a lot of other good matches. Popper and Jari.
Although if Hurkacz pulls through Korda, then you've got Lehečka Bautista good second round,
Yeah, but then
and
you got
then
and then
Ruud.
Rude and
No, it's probably
Rude
going to be
yeah.
Monfils, really.
Could be
Like,
Cerundolo.
yeah. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
Hurkacz
yeah,
Ruud.
it could be One Piece.
No
Yeah,
way, no way, Ruud beats Hurkacz on indoor hard courts.
yeah. Well, I mean, he could, but yeah, I see. I know what you mean.
It's like 90%, really. I feel very strongly about this. I felt like that too about their potential Basel meeting. Basel, especially, Paris may be a little better conditions for Ruud, but yeah, I
Musetti versus
basically
Dimitrov again.
am not
Is
really
Dimitrov
gonna.
just the king of getting repeat matchups? Like, what is up with that? It's always Dimitrov getting, yeah, the
Zverev
same opponents over and over again. Yeah, I mean, he has Musetti again, and if he wins that, then he plays Medvedev. Wow.
Ag-
Medvedev plays the winner
again.
of Musetti and, and Dimitrov again.
So it's the same section as in Rotterdam.
Yeah,
Although
it's just
there Medvedev actually had to win his first round. Now he gets
yeah.
this weird
Now he gets a
opponent.
bye,
I
and then yeah,
buy. Who is that? I don't
yeah.
think he's very successful because otherwise I would know him. Um, yeah,
That's
and
why we like
Alcaraz.
our.
Ooh, it actually looks really nice for Alcaraz. I think. I don't care about his previous issues with Nori. Nori is out
Mm.
of it, and then you have Kachanov, Purcell,
Oh yeah,
Jared,
this is
Menache,
nice. This is a good draw for him. This is a
Tsitsipas
very
as
good
well,
draw.
who's his pigeon or
Yeah,
however you want to
no, that's
call
a good
it.
draw. That's a good. Tsitsipas is
Yeah.
a good draw for him.
Well, but then it
But
doesn't
then,
have
but
to be Tsitsipas.
but what
Yeah,
if
there's
it's
like a
Zverev? Yeah,
billion. Yeah, there's Zverev, there's Felix, there's Struff, there's
but I think
Zuber.
even Zverev
Basically,
is a decent matchup for
no.
him now. I don't see. You never know, but like Yeah, I mean Zverev Tsitsipas is a fourth round, or I guess third round. I guess yeah. We don't do fourth rounds anymore in a 64 system.
Etcheverry is a fan of Djokovic, so he won't win, says Terry. I honestly think that there are about a million reasons why Thomas Martin Etcheverry won't beat won't beat Djokovic in Paris. And yeah, being a fan is not one of the main ones. Although, yeah, sometimes it plays into your mind a little bit.
By the way,
Casper
Baez
Rose
absolutely
looking
hates his
at
draw
you.
as well, and Jethro will not like that either because Fritz loves playing Baez.
I kind of think
Usually
that Baez,
Baez.
is Jeffro in the chat? Let me, before I say something, is Jeffro in the chat?
I doubt it,
Okay,
but I
so
don't think he'll
Baez is
mind.
irrelevant. It's an indoor hardcourt event. Baez is irrelevant.
Oh my god, you're so brutal.
I asked if he's there. If he was there, I wouldn't have said it.
Fair enough. Uh,
But yeah,
yeah, I mean,
what does Diego Schwartzman? I mean, speaking of Jeffro, what does Diego Schwartzman wants to do right now? Like, I don't really get the guy. What's the plan? So he's just gonna accept that he's not gonna make it to Australia or whatever.
is he not gonna try and just play
No, I mean
Challenger?
he's 105, but I mean he still hasn't signed up for any challenger, and by now we have the entry lists for the week of the ATP finals.
Oh gosh, yeah.
He is 105 in the race, but like other people are gonna gain points.
Maybe
So
he'll just accepting that he'll play qualies in Australia.
that's absolutely stupid, but I think he might do that. Yeah. I don't get it. I mean, there's a Challenger 100 in Montevideo
So
in
brutal.
November. Yeah, 13th of November. Then you have Brasilia after the ATP finals, a Challenger 100 as well. You can also stay in Europe, play Valencia, a Challenger 100 on clay. But I think it would be a brilliant idea for him to play Temuco last week of the season, a challenger in Argentina, sorry, in Chile, which
Mm.
is on hard courts. And the main thing about this challenger, which was I think held for the first time in 2022, is that you basically get all of the clay specialists, you throw them into the draw, and no one can play on hard courts. So if you can, you're very likely to win it. And I think Diego Schwartzman would just destroy the field there. In 2021, there was a similar one there in Rio de Janeiro, actually on the courts where the Olympics were played. Also, literally one hardcore challenger in South America at the end of the year, and it was the same situation. Like Kaichi Uchida won it over Alvarez Varona, I think. Literally, just two guys who could play on hard courts. Last year, it was Kicker Andreozzi in the final of Temuco. Like if Schwartzman plays this, I think he's guaranteed 50 or 75 points. But we'll see. I mean, the entry list for that is not out yet. But the fact that he's not in Montevideo is very surprising to me. Obviously, he could grab a wild card. Like I'm pretty sure that everyone is gonna want to give him a wild card there. Like Montevideo, they definitely want Schwartzman to play, even though he's not Uruguayan.
Yeah. I mean, I still can't believe they're playing each other again, De Minaur and Murray. Like that's two Masters 1000s in a row first match.
Yeah. Matthew, you're right. I mean, some ATP finals or World Tour finals or Turin or whatever, London performances from Zverev were definitely quite scary.
Yes, indeed. Especially 2021, especially the semis and the final. Especially the semis.
How about this groups match, though, a few years ago against Nadal? Maybe the best Zverev's forehand looked ever.
Yes, but I also thought Nadal was very shaky in that match. And he played much better against Tsitsipas, although that match was kind of a dead rubber, but yeah. Because then Nadal comes and he plays one of his best weeks in the Davis Cup, winning all of his matches there at the end of the year, where you would not have necessarily expected that if you saw this Zverev match.
Yeah, and coming back to the Rune Etcheverry thing, Etcheverry actually had Rune fighting for his life again in the sixth game, but as it stands, he's still 4-2 break up. trying to get us to a third set. And Rune's definitely a bit more a bit less composed at the moment.
Yeah,
Just sort of playing random stuff like that backhand a second ago.
yeah, he's not playing with as much clarity right now. He's just kind
No,
of
no.
going through the motions.
Yeah.
Maybe he kind of just accepted that this is going to go to a third.
Yeah, another error like that. So, well, if he is going to play like that, then it is going to a third, yes. So, if
Yeah,
that's the plan, true. But of course, as we said earlier, it's not like in the first set Etcheverry wasn't giving him a lot of trouble in Rune's service games. It's just that he didn't take any of these opportunities. But 6-1 was probably
yeah,
not exactly right in terms of like giving us an accurate representation of how the opening set went.
yeah.
Rune just blasting the ball here. He does win the point, but still 2 game points.
By the way, the second set of the Zverev Rublev is how I thought the first set would go before the match started. But
Yeah, I didn't actually remember that this was that much, but yeah,
oh
Ubaldi,
yes, yes,
Ubaldo,
yes.
right? It's Ubaldo
Ubaldo
something in
Scatagata.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't remember what the
But who
Italian
it
surname
is?
was,
Yes.
but yeah, he's a character.
Yeah, he is. The big three have all had their fair share of these type of interactions with him, where they've
Yes, at some point being a little annoyed by him
yeah.
because he
Although
kind of
Djokovic, I
means
think, is more
he
amused
means
than
well.
Federer and Nadal were. Djokovic seemed like he was just more amused, and he just wanted to imitate him.
Yeah, it depends on the question. Sometimes,
Yeah,
I think there was this one Federer Ubaldo interaction where Roger was like maybe a little too. Um,
yeah,
I
yeah.
guess he sort of accused Ubaldo of being disrespectful to the other players, or like
Yes, yes,
didn't
yes. No, no,
actually
I remember.
answer.
It was
Yeah, didn't
after
actually
the
answer his question.
it was
So
after he lost to Novak in
Djokovic,
2016.
yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah.
It was a day
So like,
before he hurt his knee when he
I
gave.
guess
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
He was like,
like,
"You got to be careful. You don't want to be
yeah, and
get
Roger
it worse."
didn't really address the question even that
No,
Ubaldo had. So I guess in
I
that
think I
sense,
remember what the
yeah,
question
and
was. He's like, "Do you think Djokovic will be as dominant, if not more
the
dominant?"
lack of great rivals in the future, I think
Yeah,
that,
the
that
lack of
that's what he
yeah,
said. So like it was, do you think that Djokovic will be, more dominant in the future, lacking great rivals?
yeah, lacking great rivals. Which yeah, I mean,
So, you could basically take a bit of a different route and just say
yeah,
that, oh, I don't think he's going to have no great rivals. I mean, this guy is amazing. This guy is amazing. Well, I mean, it's not going to
yeah,
be easy for him.
yeah,
But yeah, I guess he was pissed after losing, which
yeah,
is
he was.
why losing press conferences can be rough.
Yeah,
But yeah, Rafa probably the more famous sort of slightly aggressive tone when he got
oh, yeah.
asked about the marriage, but
And
that
then there
was
was
actually
another
quite
one. There was
fun
another
too.
one at the U.S. Open that same year with
Uh huh.
Rafa, where sort of like the camera just zoomed in so close to his face, and it's like his eyes just got bigger and bigger and bigger as Ubaldo kept asking more and more things in that same question. and, then, and then Nadal is like, "Do you want me to answer? Or, you're asking the question and then answering."
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, no, no, Nadal in 2019 in press conferences was quite something because he also had that happened, and then also the Ubaldo stuff. Yeah, I know he was giving these like kind of one-liners a lot. What was the
yeah.
question? I don't actually remember the question. I'll
About
probably have
what?
to go and rewatch that.
Which one?
The U.S. Open one with Rafa.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
But Ubaldo does
We
these
are.
things where he tries to get like four questions within the same.
Yeah.
Bit.
speaks in a very sort of unique manner, and also just
Yeah.
yeah, I don't want to say anything. I mean, he is a bit of a legend, but at the same time, like, I'm not sure
I
the
know.
guy belongs in the press room. You know.
No, I mean, yeah, and I think a lot of people have that opinion, but it's just, yeah, you got to be careful. He might be listening to this.
I don't mind. I can tell him that's straight in his face. He's there because he's been there for years,
Yeah,
and like
you
that
know,
that's
there's a
why he's
certain
there
other journalist
basically.
who should not be in there, but
Ooh.
he made that very known.
Oh,
Wrote
I
on
know who you
Twitter.
mean. Yeah, I know who you mean. Yeah, he's terrible.
Yeah,
I've seen a few more interactions of his recently, and like,
mm,
yeah, it's unbelievable what the guy wants. I mean, I know, for example, that he sent an email to when Shanghai was starting up. So like, this
yeah.
is the type of guy who sends an email to the ATP saying, when will the in the daily media notes site or whatever it's called, when will the when will the other events from previous week be deleted off the website, because he wants Shanghai to have like the main stage. I mean, what?
What?
Really? Like, is this so important that you need to write to the ATP regarding that? No,
Yeah,
no,
I know.
yeah. If I didn't know him, I would be maybe a little surprised. But since I know him, due to your interaction with him and the subsequent interactions of some other tennis Twitter folks with him, including myself, I probably would be
Yeah.
surprised. But yeah, I already knew what I was getting into, basically.
Mm.
Phew.
Somehow the guy still gets work though. Like he was working at Indian Wells in radio somehow. Somehow he does radio commentary, which is I don't know how anyone would want to hire that guy. But anyways,
Yeah. Anyway, Thomas Martin Etcheverry trying to serve out the set. Getting some free-ish points on serve, although it actually didn't end up being so free-ish after all, after the try volley. But he came up with a pretty soft touch as well. And another free-ish point on serve as he just blasted down the at the body of Rune. And 2 set points for Echeverry. There's no way anyone like right now knows what's going to happen in the decider, because we've just seen a couple of very different sets, even though, as I said, like the 6-1 for Rune was a little misleading, but he was still playing so great, and yeah, just hitting a number of very smart shots, perfect combinations. And then second set, he's just sort of out of it very quickly.
yeah,
And Etcheverry will just clean up the set point as well. This time when he puts Rune, of course, yeah, Rune, deep in his backhand corner, he just gets a couple of shorter slices, and they don't have the bite. So 1 hour 18 minutes, so very very quick match, and we are getting into the decider. Zverev and Rublev also about to be engaged in the second set tiebreak. It seems Zverev was the only one who had to save a breakpoint along the way,
yes.
but he did that, and Rublev is a point away from securing the tiebreaker. So yeah, as I said earlier, we also have Shevchenko Oger Aliasim after that in Basel. Any thoughts on that? Can Sasha spring up another upset?
Sorry, what was the question?
Shevchenko Oger Aliasim.
Oh. Yeah, is that another? Oh, they're playing each other today and then also in Paris.
No, no, I was just thinking
Oh,
about, today's match and what are your expectations regarding that. I don't
Uh,
think Shevchenko will be in
I
Paris, right?
I
Like
think
he
that
doesn't have the
Felix
rank.
will win that match because part of it is also this the emotional high of yesterday, and also I just think Felix is playing a lot better this week.
Than he was in Tokyo, for example.
Yes, and before Tokyo, of course,
Yeah,
where he just wasn't
Anastasia
hitting
was
them.
not expecting to see Felix in the quarterfinals, which I'm kind of surprised about, honestly. I mean, the conditions are great for
The
him. He
conditions
was
are
playing
perfect.
Reedy and Van de Zandschulp. Reedy seemed like a dangerous opponent. I said to bet your house on it, but he is, after all, quite a mercurial player as well, and has a balls to the wall attacking strategy that 90% of the time is not gonna bring you much.
Yeah,
So
his
I
serve
guess
and
once he
forehand
got through
combination
that,
seems to be firing on all cylinders on this court more than any other court because I think even out of the three titles that he won last year in the fall, I mean, this was the best by far that he looked at was in Basel, uh, particularly the semis and the finals last year.
yeah, it's gonna be quite exciting to see if there's a Tokyo repeat, sort of, because in Tokyo we had Vukic and Offner wins. It seemed like he's getting at somewhere, and then Giron beats him in what, 80 minutes.
Yes, yes.
So of course he'll be hoping to avoid that.
Mm,
And yeah, in Basel, we already have that one semi-final scheduled. Hurkacz playing Ugo Umber, their second meeting. Hurkacz defeated him at Halle 2022, where he won the title. And when they played, Umber was the defending title of Halle. So we're actually gonna see two of the last three Halle um,
yeah,
title winners there. And Umber is seeking his first final in exactly since then, actually,
yeah. And
since
career high ranking
Halle
now
was
for
final.
Umber as well.
Is it guaranteed though? Like I think if Etcheverry loses, it's gonna be guaranteed or something like that.
Oh, yeah, you might be right.
Uh,
Although, where
I'm
is
not
Umber in
positive.
the race?
No, actually, no. Right, like if Umber beats Hurkacz, he would jump up to 22 in the live rankings. So I guess it would be, yeah, it would be a career high anyway. Actually,
Mm,
even if Felix wins and even if Echeverry won the title. But it would be just 24, so just by one position. But yeah, with just the semifinal, it's not a career high for Umber yet.
yeah.
He's actually tied for points with Adrian Manarino as well, which again takes us back to the French number one race, which no one really cares about. But like at the beginning of
Yeah,
the season,
I don't really care. But yeah,
yeah,
it's
someone posted a question on Twitter like, who is going to be the French number one?
yeah.
And yeah, there were a few answers. Fields probably wasn't among them yet because, well, that was
Of course,
at the
this
very
year
beginning of the season.
there's also the ATV 500 bonus pool. So the winner, who gets the most points in the ATV 500 events this year will get $1.3 million.
Oh my goodness.
And I mean, actually, that's not correct. The total compensation is 1.3 million.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so the person in first place will get 600,000.
Oh,
Second place, 300,000. Third
still
place,
huge.
200,000. So right now, currently, it's Medvedev who leads. Of course, Alcaraz only played. Alcaraz is not playing in Basel or Vienna, so he opted not to be number one for the 500 poll. But Medvedev is in the
Um,
pole position. But actually, if Zverev wins the title in Vienna, he could be number one.
but the main thing is that what you just said sort of proves that these programs are idiotic because they basically just
I mean, you're kind of right, but
feed. Yeah, I mean they feed the billionaires. Like
yes. So,
they
so this is
feed
what I
the
would love.
players
Is
who
I
don't
would
need it.
love if these. I would love if this money could go to the challenger level. Like that's what I would hope
Yeah.
for because those players actually need it way more. Like
what does Medvedev need a $6,000 for, or Zverev? I mean, these guys
Yeah,
don't have to work for the rest of their lives. They're
true.
multimillionaires who never really care about the money. Of course, they
Yeah,
still want more of it. Naturally, if they can like pick up an appearance fee, they're gonna do it. Or if they can pick up these money, why not? This sort of money, why not go for it? It
yeah,
would be stupid not to. But yeah, the programs like that just don't work because there's no point in giving Medvedev or Zverev more money.
yeah,
It only widens the gap. It doesn't even bridge it. Arch Fitness, I mean, who knows? If we knew, we wouldn't be watching it. You know, we saw such two different faces of Rune so far. The one
yeah,
from the opening set who was a smart player who was moving very well, covering his back and corner in defense extremely well. The one who was also serving, like, won 88% of his first serve points. And the one from the second set who was totally lost out there and, yeah, just had no idea of what he's doing. And by the time he was like 1-4 down, he just started playing completely like mindlessly. And yeah, as Vanch said, going through the motions. So it definitely more so depends on the version of Rune that we get in the third set than the version of Etcheverry, but it seems like a very open game at the moment.
yeah. By the way, good neutralization from Etcheverry on the +1 from Runa. So it looks like they're in a really long rally, but Runa goes for this short slice backhand, misses it wide. Yeah, he opts to go for the short slice. I think he was maybe trying to go for a shot closer to the net, and he just floats it.
Yeah, and maybe right away we might get the favorite Rune in trouble, which would be really good for Hubert Hurkacz, naturally, if Rune lost here. Then
Yes.
sort of the ball would be in his court, and if he wins the Basel title, he would jump up to number 8 in the race to Turin
Yeah.
and be in pole position. Haha.
Oh,
The pole would be in pole
uh,
position um, to get the 8th spot and qualify for the second time, I think.
yes. He's obviously familiar with this because he had to beat James Duckworth in 2021 Paris quarters.
Yeah, I mean, he
75
had
of
to
the
be James Duckworth, right? But yeah,
yes,
I get
legendary
it. Yeah,
James Duckworth. Yes,
it was
the
actually tough. Like I remember that
yes.
much wasn't easy, right?
No, it wasn't. It was like 7-5 in the third.
Yeah, yeah. And then he lost to Novak 7-6 in the
Yeah.
third, I think. But yeah, that was the moment when he qualified. So apparently he does get a lot better whenever the Turin
But
qualification
he was not very healthy
scenario.
during the finals, if I remember correctly. Like I think he
I know
hurt
he
his
lost all
ankle.
matches,
And
but I can't remember the details, the gruesome details of his injuries. No.
I think he was
Seven volley
pretty
from
bad against.
Rune. Uh huh.
Oh, actually, he played a very good match against Medvedev. Didn't come out on top and win, but after
Yeah.
that, he really just
Like
proved
he
everything
actually
he
has
can.
very good matchups with most of the players in the ATP Finals field this year. I mean, not
He does.
Djokovic and Alcaraz, but Djokovic and Alcaraz, he did push really hard the last time they
Yeah,
played this year. Whereas against Medvedev, Zverev, Rublev, Tsitsipas, even, I mean, I know his head-to-head record
yeah,
against Tsitsipas is awful, but that's always been really weird to me.
yeah,
Maybe it's the fact that he cannot pressure the backhand other than the serve. I don't know. No, it still doesn't make sense for them to be so.
yeah.
Um, yeah, just so for it to
Totally.
be so
Yeah,
lopsided. But he did beat him in the most recent meeting,
he
and
did
Sinner, I
very comfortably.
guess. Sinner, he's
Yeah, he's 2-2 against Sinner,
yeah,
and
but
he did have a match point when they played in Monte Carlo, so it could have
Monte
been
Carlo,
2-1.
yeah, it was actually a pretty good match from him. So yeah, he could actually do something at the ATP Finals this year.
Yeah.
I think it's a possibility for him for sure.
By the way, Zverev has a couple of set points in the second set tiebreak versus Rublev. Now he gets one on his serve. And Zverev seals the second set with an ace. So that's going 3 sets.
Yeah, Rune did end up saving himself. There was a serve volley at deuce that he won with a pretty good one, and he did hold. So now Etcheverry will be trying to match him. Getting quite a few unreturned serves or easy setups.
Yeah. By the way, I do have to leave at 12 o'clock, so I may not be able to stay for this whole set.
20 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
You probably won't make it unless it's another just, speedy set that we see from these two. And so far, that's what they've been showing us.
Mm-hmm.
It would be fitting if it ended in like a
By the way,
deciding
we
set
broke our
tiebreak.
streak of tie breaks, so.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we did.
I forgot about that. I mean, we were sort of
Yeah,
trying to,
you knew it wasn't really going to last. Like, it
Yeah,
was one of
we've done
those.
so many of these in the past couple of weeks that at some point
Yeah.
it had to disappear.
By the way, I wonder what time is Tsitsipas Medvedev tomorrow? Because it's probably going to be the first match, right? So
Haven't they released it yet? Let me see.
let's see.
Vienna, oh yeah, order of play. Long been released 4 hours ago. And yeah, it's just at 2 p.m. local time. So for
So
you that
5.
would be 5 a.m.
Yeah. That's a bit early, but yeah.
But you will be awake in time to probably watch Arevalo play, I don't know, the Weisbord or Ram Salisbury.
Yes. Oh, but I mean, Ram Salisbury is a good. Yeah. This was in Vienna, where obviously Salisbury hit that amazing tweener. Not Salisbury. Was it Salisbury?
And
Yeah, it was.
It is Ram Salisbury as well,
Yes.
against Arevalo. So
By the way, the greatest tweener I've ever seen. Just saying. It's throwing that out there.
how about that
2019 Vienna.
Kyrgios one? That's sort of like
No.
the angle is just very narrow.
No.
Nadal
Salisbury.
Madrid against Djokovic,
No, Salisbury
the
beats that.
tweener lob. I mean, no, honestly, the greatest tweener of all time is still Federer Djokovic, U.S. Open 2009.
No, I
To
think
set up
Salisbury
triple
beats.
match point, to
I
set
think
up triple match
Salisbury.
point,
I think Salisbury beats that. The angle that he found was
but
just ridiculous.
to set up triple match point,
I mean, the occasion was big, but I'm just talking about the shot
yeah,
itself.
to set up triple match point. I'm gonna keep saying that, and then also a return winner to end it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I remember
No,
the
I mean the
sequence. Yeah.
fact that in the U.S. Open semifinal there was a point where it was 6-5, 30 love, well love 30,
Yeah.
and someone hits a tweener to set up free triple match point. Well, if it was a fifth set, that would be an even bigger boost for that one because well, it still felt like
I
it was
remember the
pretty.
next year in the first round, he hit the one against Marinko
Yeah,
Matosevic, and Matosevic just did not react at all. He just did not
Matosevic.
react.
No, no,
And he won
no,
the
that
one
wasn't
against.
the next year.
Oh,
Uh,
sorry. No, that was 2014. The next year,
yeah,
he did hit the one against.
Brian Dabul.
Yes, Brian Dibble. Yes, and Brian Dibble
Yeah,
just sort of picks his underwear afterwards. But yeah,
Matosevic didn't react because it wasn't during the point.
was it?
Matosevic threw out the volley or whatever the shot was,
I thought it
and
was.
Roger. No.
I
Roger
thought that
just
one
did
in the
it.
point.
No, it was
Really?
just outside the
Oh,
point, and he actually hit Matosevic with it, with the ball.
yes. Yeah, he hit him in
Michael
the.
Jordan was in the crowd as well.
Yes,
They
yes, I remember.
instantly showed Jordan's face, but that wasn't doing the point. No, this was actually just outside of it. Like
Oh,
literally,
okay.
the shot went out, and he just hit it for fun. Which if Matosevic, after getting hit by the ball, he fell onto the ground and said that it did him a lot of harm. He actually could have asked for a default.
Oh, I just remember Federer laughing after that replay.
Yeah, I don't think he saw that it hit him, but But that's why Matosevic was, with his back to Federer because he did hit that previous shot out, basically.
Yeah. That's I do remember Michael Jordan in the crowd. That was the year that they were working on the shoe.
Yeah, the one against Dabul is probably better than the one against Djokovic, but just the occasion, right,
Yes.
is quite something. Yeah, it was I just put it on as well. I mean, it was a lob volley from Matosevic that does not end up making it into the court, and that's why Federer
Okay.
hits it winner because it's not actually a shot. It's just for fun. But yeah, Brian Dabul, what a legend. I'm glad we mentioned him.
Doesn't he do some YouTube stuff now? I feel like
I don't know.
he's a coach or something. He does some YouTube content.
Actually, this sounds right. This
I
does
think he
sound
does.
right.
Yeah, I think he
He
does
might have
some
an
special.
academy of sorts, or
Yeah.
yeah, he does some YouTube work. He was the number one junior in the world in 2002.
Mm.
What do you think was Brian Dabul's highest ranking?
Wasn't
Quick
it?
pop quiz.
What do I think? I mean, it was around 100. I would say
You gotta
100 and
make a
more.
guess.
100.
Ooh, 82.
Oh, okay. So pretty good.
Yeah. He's mostly famous for getting that twinner hit against
Yeah.
him. But if we were watching tennis, more thoroughly back in the day, we probably would have had more memories with Brian Dabur. But yeah, for now, the only one I have is that Twitter, which he didn't hit. So
Mm.
it was this other guy from Switzerland, Federer. Yeah,
I
Federer.
remember still being angry at Jerzy Janowicz for beating Somdev Devarman in the first round of
Okay.
Australian Open.
Yeah, I remember that match. Although it's kind of random. Wasn't Janovic like a big favorite?
He was, yeah.
I remember being angry at Janovic for losing to Maximo Gonzalez at the U.S. Open in the opening round. That was like one of the most shocking upsets of the decade, I think, at the U.S. Open. And yeah, I just couldn't understand it at the time. Well, I still can't.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, they're trying. Rune's trying to trade backhands with Etcheverry, makes the mistake and actually looks physically unwell for not the first time in this match, but like it's getting increasingly frequent. But it's Holger Rune. Through the years of being unfit on the court, he has managed to sort of develop a way of getting out of it with shortening the points, like crazy, and often it works. He is probably one of the best players at like managing fatigue, just because he needed to get to that sort of level at managing fatigue. Otherwise, he wouldn't be winning.
There was this incredible win that he sneaked out somehow in, was it last year in Lyon? Uh,
Nori? No.
no. Yeah, it was a week before the French Open. It was,
He was struggling in Lyon quite a lot. I think he played Nori and like the minor, but that's not the match we're talking about. No, Nori beat him, and Nori played the minor, right?
yeah.
And then Holger played in the quarters Manuel Guinard.
Yes, that guy. Yeah. It was the Guinard match where he was cramping like crazy and match points down, and he just like somehow won. He could not even walk.
The funny thing is, I never would have remembered that, but just like a couple of days ago, I was absolutely stunned when I realized that Manuel Guinard was so close to an ATP Tour semi-final.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason why I remember that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got 2 breakpoints for Rune now. Another block return. Etcheverry tries to hit it off the backhand side cross court. He makes a very simple error. So now we have Rune with the 2 breakpoint opportunities.
Yeah. By the way, Rublev gets in the early break in the start of the third. Zverev making a couple of loose errors for that you don't normally see in this.
Yeah, I mean, this time Etcheverry gets what he wants. They're trading cross court. He goes to the inside out forehand first, cleans up at the net. Maybe a little tentative from Rune, but given how the last couple of points looked, you can understand his intention of maybe getting that backhand error from Etcheverry that he will supply to you a fair amount of times, definitely.
Etcheverry saves both these breakpoints. Am I ahead?
Yeah.
Wow, that must be a record.
No. I've when
Or
we're
you just
doing the commentary together, I've just been using a stream that's more
okay.
like I don't know, 15 seconds behind you because my usual is like 30, 40 seconds ahead probably. So it's wild that there are such huge differences, but well, it's not that much of an issue, really.
Have you ever hit it around the net winner? I don't think I actually have.
Ooh, what's the question? Have you ever hit the around the net winner? Huh. Uh, Probably not. No, I don't think so. I've hit like, some wide shots that, well, were a little over the net, but like straight up round the net, probably not. It's super common in table tennis, but that's
Oh
probably
yeah, yeah.
not what you're talking about. In table tennis, well, I can't say that I hit it every day, but like I've hit a billion of them really. I
Yeah.
actually feel like it's one of my best shots around the net.
In table
Uh,
tennis, yeah.
yeah, in tennis, no, I don't think I've hit it. I don't feel like I've ever even been in a situation where I would have the chance and miss it.
Mhm.
Sometimes you get it like over the post, like next to the post or something. That's happened definitely. I remember saving a set point like that when I was just chasing down a ball, but that wasn't round the net. That was still over the post or like
Yeah.
just on the left side of the post because it was on the right side of the court. So yeah, I don't think I've even attempted to. It also doesn't help that most of the time you're gonna play with the doubles net, not the singles one, right?
Yeah.
So it makes it significantly tougher to do it. I'm also not playing like I've played like doubles like 5 times in my life, which often in doubles it can be easier to hit around the net. There's just more opportunities too. So no, I don't think I've hit one. Rune again going after the Etcheverry backhand and eventually getting the error. So another breakpoint. Not sure what to think about this match because yeah, the set one version of Rune was suddenly again like the main Turin contender and pretty good form, lots of improvement regarding what we saw since Wimbledon, what we've been seeing since Wimbledon. But the set two and set three version of Rune is just like sort of mediocre. You would actually struggle to see that version of Rune well either beating like Auger-Aliassime if he's actually gonna keep playing well this week, or especially Hurkacz, I think. But of course, it's Rune. Like 2 matches later, if he manages to
Yeah.
survive, he can be a very different beast.
And he does have the sort of game style that would trouble both of these guys.
Potentially,
But I guess that's what we're
I,
talking about. Like, what is his game style? He's still trying to
yeah, I'm
figure
not
that
really
out.
sure what you mean by that. Like,
Yeah.
Felix did beat him pretty comfortably in last year here. Of
I guess
course,
if he
later
finds the
he.
right balance between counterpunching and his all-out attack
I don't think he
mixed in with the
would
tight
find
short
it
game,
against
I don't know.
Hurkacz.
It's
Like
just
against Hurkacz, would he really find that balance?
no. I mean, he would her coach would just serve aces and
Yeah, and then
Mhm.
defend, and
Yeah,
Rune would hit himself off the court in like 2 games or something, and that would be enough. Like that's the way I kind of see it going right now with the version of Rune that we are witnessing right now. Who knows? We'll see if he even gets there. We'll see if Hurkacz even gets there. But for now, of course, we are actually witnessing the Rune Etcheverry quarterfinal, and Etcheverry will now have a game point. So
yeah. Zverev, of course, back to playing really passive tennis,
okay,
defending behind the baseline, hitting the ball very short.
third set Zverev type of stuff.
Yes.
Oh, and he's love 3 down. Okay.
At this point, Zverev is like a player who's just a total like finished product. Like I don't know like what else he's got to like. He's just the same player like he's always been. The question is just like where is he at mentally, honestly, because I don't really see anything in his game improving.
This year was more so about getting back to his previous level,
Right. Yeah.
and
But
in
even that version, it's
Cincinnati
like
and New York, I thought he has.
for sure. But like that's like his base level.
Uh huh.
That's his average level. So like in terms of like the next step is just closing out the matches in the semis and finals. Not
More or less, I guess.
yeah. And I guess the second serve, which is never really like
Yeah, but it's not a major issue.
it's not an issue
It
indoors for sure.
it has been at
And then
some points in the past, but like no, sometimes I feel like people just keep talking about the Zverev second serve or like I don't know, Rublev second serve, and these aren't really that major unless they're hitting like 50% of unless they're hitting like 10 or 15 double faults a match, which for Rublev it never really was happening. For Zverev, of course, but not anymore. And unless that happens, it's not like people are blasting their second serve returns against them. No, it's just not a shot that's sort of meant to give you an advantage anyway. Most of the time, it's just sort of meant to start you in a rally from more or less a neutral position. I mean, some players can, of course.
yeah. Unless you're like just ultra aggressive on them, and you're just
Yeah, some players will start the rallies after their second serve in like very advantageous positions, but
and
that
that is probably
also
the best
ups the
time
risk.
to attack Medvedev and Zverev because as they're getting out of their service position, and then you don't
Yeah.
want to be rallying with them from the baseline, basically hitting neutral shots, 20 to 30 shot rallies, because you're probably going to lose unless you have great variety.
And Holger Rune definitely does have great variety, although
Yes.
he can struggle with the application. Still
Yep.
tied in the third set 2-all. Both guys have now had their share of issues in this decider already, so this is basically looking like a toe to toe battle. We'll see if until the end, but at least for now.
Yep.
I guess that's in as well. So a couple of easier points for Rune, which he does seem like he needs that right now. I think before you even came on, I said that if we manage to see like another 2.5 hour match and there's a lot of grueling rallies, then you definitely would like Echeverry's chances there. But the main thing I guess about this free setter is that it's been very short. It does not
Yeah.
mean, of course, that Holger is not going to struggle physically. It's Rune. But it could mean that, he's going to have a slightly easier time than he would in the usual free set type
Yeah.
of match. Shevchenko Fritz yesterday
Yeah. I mean,
or Etcheverry Murray.
we're not even at the 2 hour mark yet.
Yeah.
It's 1 hour 50 minutes.
It's not Etcheverry Murray. Let's just say that.
By the way, Runa hits the second service. and I probably have to get going now. So yeah, we'll look at the results and see who wins. But yeah, I'll probably join you some other stream in the near future.
Why? That's probably why coaches were fed up with him. He doesn't want to change his game. Who are we talking about? Oh, Zverev. Oh, Zverev. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It seems like he just wasn't really willing to learn. Yeah, I agree with that. He also had these issues with like punctuality, right? And just overall work ethic. So yeah, I totally get what you mean. It's a bit of a joke usually. Like he uses that as a joke. For example, when there were these ATP finals videos released by the ATP where they just sit down with the players, of course, like one by one, and they ask him, for example, who's the most likely to be late for practice? And everyone says Zverev, and Zverev says, yeah, me. And I know everyone will say me. And it's kind of funny, but then when you have a famous coach, like for example Ferrero or whoever, saying that this is really irritating about working with him and like that he doesn't have the work ethic, you're sort of like, I don't know if we should be joking about this. Like it does seem like a problem in a way as well. If you're late for practice, most of the time you're still not gonna get like more, right? Like you're gonna be signed up for 10 a.m. and you're gonna be signed up until 11 a.m. You're not gonna be able to extend it just because you were late 10 minutes, for example, right? So I do think that it's actually a serious issue that shouldn't maybe be thrown around as a joke. Of course, it's not like by itself. It's probably not the worst thing in the world, but like as a whole picture, and yeah, it just makes him a tough person to work with as a coach. It seems so. No one has also been able to like just fix his confidence issues on the forehand side. The fact that he gets so passive with it 90% of the time, especially whenever there's lots of pressure. Not lots of pressure actually on that wing because defensively it's a fine shot. It's just not okay when he just keeps trying to loop it and doesn't go forward with it, doesn't actually hit through it, which happens quite a lot. That's a pretty good pass from Etcheverry, although you could also argue that Rune could have done more with the approach. Not placed too well, for sure. A bit of a Hail Mary play. Etcheverry had an opportunity to do more, I think, with this +1 forehand, but eventually he wins the point after a Rune slice that misses its mark. So it seems like we will be going to 3-all. And yeah, still absolutely no info whatsoever as to who's gonna win. As yeah, it does seem to depend mostly on Rune, but at the same time, you gotta appreciate how Etcheverry has been able to stick around with him and yeah, just play his game. Play his solid stuff. Don't make as many backhand errors as he sometimes can when trading cross court, and also just keep serving well, keep hitting the forehand, of course, as he usually does. Very hard, very spinny, very heavy, and yeah, just keep up with the uber talented 20-year-old, himself being a very talented 20 something year old as well, of course. So Rune to serve at 3-all. And these are the sort of rallies that Etcheverry should be enjoying, and he is. Great counter, open stance, cross court, forces the air out of Rune, and yeah, just some really good footwork patterns there with how quickly he got to cover that. Seemed like Rune might have a slight advantage after hitting his backhand down the line, choosing a more difficult direction, but Etcheverry is there in a flash and fires a deep, quick forehand counter to get to love 15. Serve and volley on the second serve from Rune, and I think Etcheverry should have this point. Yes, indeed. He needed 2 shots to pass Rune, but that doesn't really matter. Maybe he kind of risked it because he played it at Rune, and Rune had he didn't have a clean hit on the volley, but somehow miraculously he could have made it over the net, but he didn't. So love 30, and Rune really seems distraught right now. Fitness still not where it should be, and it keeps showing in this decider. I think I said it a few days ago about Rune, but I'm sort of excited just to see what he can do after the off season and how he will spend that time. But the main thing right now is that I don't think he's gonna just call it a season here, even though maybe it would be beneficial. I don't know, but obviously the chance of playing for the ATP finals, it means a lot, and defending the Paris title as well. There's no way he's gonna do it, and maybe shouldn't. I mean, after all, he has a lot to play for here. He also couldn't compete at the ATP finals last year. He was the first alternate and didn't get a chance to show up. Anyway, 1530, but he'll need more of these points. And he actually gets an ace for 30 all too. Huge scream here. Important moment. A 3 point like that with how he's apparently feeling out there. That means a lot for sure. Zverev Rublev 1-4 down Rublev in the Zverev of course in the third set. So Rune wins another point and there's a huge reaction. Yeah, time violation warning as well was a couple of points ago as Terry said. But he is winning these quick points behind his delivery now. Gets a short ball after the serve, fires a +1 forehand. As we are nearing the 2-hour mark. Now we'll see how he holds up in a more in an extended rally with Etcheverry. Trading backhands again, and this time the Argentinian makes the first error. This is the sort of leaking that Etcheverry should definitely avoid at the moment. It shouldn't be this easy for Holger to just play a few backhands towards his backhand corner and get that, out of nowhere. Not on a shot that he was trying to be aggressive with or anything. Just basically trading down the middle and a technical mishap. Anyway, 4-3 Rune, and he did dig himself out of a bit of a hole here. I mean, love 30, it wasn't looking bright, but a few great serves, quick points, and that's exactly what he needs right now. Etcheverry is like sort of, what have I done with this last after this last backhand? And yeah, it wasn't a major opportunity missed since Rune was still 40-30, but just cheap points like that going to Rune right now, that's not what Etcheverry wants at all. 2 hours have passed. Rune definitely not looking too fresh, but he is still in the match. He is still fighting for it. So And it's time to get back onto the court. Tomás Martin Etcheverry to serve. 3-4 down in the deciding set. Sorry, I just realized I made a pretty comical error earlier. Not on the stream. Trusting Wikipedia with something because they were the only place to have that info, and now I know why, because it was just straight up untrue. But I'm gonna fix it after the stream, someplace else. Anyway, of course, as we're nearing the third set here, or the end of the third set. But that's pretty comical, not gonna lie. And Etcheverry gets a very quick game on his own serve. So we are at 4-all. I think Etcheverry mishit that forehand return, so another 3-point coming Rune's way. This is really something that he should be trying to control a little bit more, if you may. Ooh, that's a nice serve and volley here. For smart direction. No chance really for Etcheverry to do anything with the quality of this serve. And another nice point for Rune, going forward, always being in control here, putting the pressure on Etcheverry, getting the error. Although, after the Etcheverry lob and a pretty safe smash from Rune, it seemed like it might be trending towards the Argentinians' direction, but no. Rune with a great volley from below the net, but he has. It seemed like he's actually wasted the opportunity. Oh, and we could have had our own Roger Federer, Brian Daboul moment on this stream, as Etcheverry lobbed him, and Rune had to go for a tweener there. Direction wise, it was pretty good, but just like 1 or 2 meters too long, probably. Yeah. Still a nice attempt. We could have had our own Brian Daboul in Tomás Martin Etcheverry here. But Etcheverry will be more famous than Brian Daboul. I mean, he's already around Garros quarterfinalist, 2-time ATP finalist. He will have more for people to remember him by. But this serve from Rune is not going to have a response to it from Etcheverry. So 5-4, and the last few games actually have been pretty quick for either player, which seems like it kind of suits Rune with him being definitely in a worse spot physically at present. So good opportunity there for him. And Etcheverry also has been, because the last few games basically they have been going with this pattern where one of the players basically is getting a lot of free points on serve, and in Rune's case this usually comes from the quality of his delivery, whereas for Etcheverry it's just the fact that Rune is playing his usual weird when I'm tired, so I'm playing a little weirder, just sort of trying to finish the points early, but then it's not always clicking. And yeah, basically it's been a bit of a mess the last couple of games, but Rune is still holding on, and probably the player that you would maybe trust a little bit more if it goes to a tiebreak, with just the fact that he can fire a few quick aces on return serves. For Etcheverry, if Rune actually sort of starts going for it, not going for it in the sense that he's going to be trying to fire winners at will, but like in the sense that once he actually starts trying to get into the rallies, it's kind of doubtful if the Etcheverry backhand will hold up. He actually has been struggling with that a little bit. Ooh, this could be a costly error already for Etcheverry. +1 forehand that's he just narrowly misses wide, and Rune finds himself just 3 points away. Yeah, again, if he can just start, putting in some returns, make Etcheverry play a little bit, this could lead to a win for him. But an unreturned serve for Etcheverry comes in very handy at this stage, getting him back to 15-0. And another unreturned serve, so the cheap points that the players are getting in the last few games are just slowly, taking us towards the tiebreak, it seems. But of course, it's not a done deal yet. Far from it, in fact. Yeah, and Rune after the first point certainly is not making Etcheverry play so far. Unreturned serves for the Argentinian, and now He was forced to hit this forehand on the run defensively, doesn't manage it. So will Etcheverry get to 5-all? Will he just find a big serve here? And that's an ace down the tee from Tomás Martin Etcheverry. So a couple of really good serves from him after falling down love 15. And the first moment when there was actual pressure on him in terms of, the match potentially ending right there on the spot, if he just drops his level for a moment, he did find himself pretty well in that, under that sort of pressure. Ooh, that's a sensational pass from Etcheverry. Rune going forward, at all costs, whatever happens, and pays the price. Clenched fists from Tomás, and rightfully so. This was a really clutch shot, and one that potentially could bring him to a great position in this game as well. But an unreturned serve from Rune now, deep down at the body of Etcheverry. He cannot move away in time and hit his forehand cleanly. So 15-all. Ooh, costly miss from Rune now. Trying to play very aggressively, go to the net at every occasion again. The approach shot was actually really good, but Etcheverry did just enough with this forehand cross-court pass to make Rune miss on the volley. Of course, he could have made it. It wasn't that tough, but he did have to stretch for it a little bit, and it was enough to make him succumb to the pressure. This volley is cleaner, though. Etcheverry still almost makes the backhand pass, and there's definitely a sigh of relief here from Rune. Very similar points right now. I mean, Rune at the net on every opportunity. That's the sort of tennis he likes to play. Well, he likes to play. He doesn't like to play when he's when he's unwell, right, or when he's feeling the effects of a match. But clearly, that's what's happening right now, and he just wants to make the points shorter, whatever happens. And so far, he is still tied with Etcheverry, 5-all, 30-all. Approaches the net again, and will win the point. Good soft touch on this backhand volley. Etcheverry tries to lob him, but it's not really even close. Ooh, and again, Rune tries to serve and volley, second serve. Etcheverry plays this low dipping backhand return cross court, and Rune cannot get it over. Well, he can go over the net, but he cannot get it just slightly, over the net with this delicate drop volley that he was going for. Basically, 5 out of 6 points in this game, Rune has been at the net. You can clearly see what he's doing, and maybe it's gonna lead to something, maybe it won't. Rune misses his +1 forehand, and this could be the moment that Tomás Martin Etcheverry, separates himself. This could be the moment when he gets the advantage. It's the first breakpoint in this game, and with what Rune is doing right now, you just kind of know that he's going to be really aggressive, going to try to finish the point on the first, second, third stroke. And if he fails to do it, just like he did a second ago, we might have Tomás Martin Etcheverry serving for the match and serving for an ATP 500 semifinal, which would be absolutely massive for the Argentinian. He did make two, he did make two. Ooh, great drop volley here from Rune though. This was a very similar one to the point to rallies ago, where he also approaches the net, serves and volleys, gets a similar backhand cross court pass from Etcheverry, and even though it's low dipping, this time he fires a really good drop volley out of it. Delicate, soft, barely bounces. What can you do? And another serve volley point, although this time he had to play a drive volley, and it was fairly easy, but that's the sort of tennis that Rune is forced to play right now. And, to his credit, he is holding up pretty well with it. And what I was trying to say earlier is that it would still be Etcheverry's second biggest point gain, right? If he made the semis here, because after Roland Garros quarters, he did get 360 points for that. The finals at ATP 250s in Santiago and Houston, that was 150 points each. So making the semis here, it would be 180. But from a breakpoint down, Rune wins the next game. He is 6-5 up, and he might be serve and volleying on every point. He might be getting to the net on every point, but he is still holding, and he is in a better position right now than Etcheverry is, obviously. Okay. While I was watching, I was also fixing that thing that I mentioned. So sorry if I was a little less attentive. Let's begin a campaign to get John's father. Yeah, why not? Who is better in tie breaks? Jose was asking a while ago. You would probably like Rune's chances more because he gets so much out of his serve. But yeah, with the way he's playing right now, serve and volley after every point, go to the net, whatever happens. I think, there is definitely some chance for a wild finish to this match, whatever that wild finish will be. Yes, Tommy, exactly. You need to win 6 games, absolutely. But if it's 6-5, it's not a win yet. If it's 6-all, we get to a tiebreak, which is this little game to 7 points. I guess it is a game, it is a longer game to 7 points where you don't count 15, 30, 40, 40. You stop all that and you just play until 7 points. But also you have to win by 2. You cannot win 7-6. You have to win 8-6 and etc. Rune fired a phenomenal backhand down the line winner, the sort of shot that again he goes for because he's tired, but he manages to land it in. But an unreturned serve for Etcheverry keeps him alive. I wonder if Rune is going to be able to combine a few good points together here on return, because the previous attempt, the previous game wasn't really there. I figured that maybe at some point he's just going to make Etcheverry hit more shots, but so far it seems like he's either unable or unwilling to. Now he's in a rally and actually hitting some pretty good shots. Slices, makes Etcheverry hit a forehand. Loopier reset, that was nice. Etcheverry is at the net though, and Rune will not pass him. Good coverage there from Etcheverry as well, covering that forehand cross-court angle. Sort of recognizes that this is the only play that Rune has and just cuts it off easily. Also, the previous shot, the sheer idea to go to the net after this forehand was good, because I think he saw that Rune was basically had to slice it, basically had to slice it very passively, and he just goes to the net on like the second wind, you can say. And that was really nice as well. Not the sort of play that Tomás Martin Etcheverry is usually famous for, or it's not his trademark, but clearly he can execute it quite well. Has no issues doing that at the very least. And another unreturned serve. This time Holger was trying to run around his backhand, fires a forehand at the feet of Etcheverry, but it's just long. So Etcheverry has 2 game points to get us to a tiebreaker. As Anastasia told you in the chat, we have Andrei Rublev in the Vienna semifinals already. So yeah, very high profile semis there with Medvedev, Tsitsipas, and then Rublev playing either Tiafoe or Sinner. In fact, if it's Medvedev, Rublev, Sinner, and Tsitsipas, that would be the last 3 winners of this event, right? With Rublev, Tsitsipas, and Medvedev. With Rublev, Medvedev, and Sinner. No, Sinner was in the. Sorry, no. Sinner was in the semis. It was Zverev who was the other winner, right? Yeah, so it would be the 2020 champion Rublev, 2022 Medvedev, and then Tsitsipas, and one of Tiafoe or Sinner. Tiafoe was in the Vienna final. He was in that final 2 years ago, right? He lost to Zverev. Whereas in Basel, maybe a little less expected matchup, but that's the reality here. Like the events weren't really even in terms of the fields, right? It was like more stacked in Vienna in terms of the top, but the cutoff was similar. So it's not like Basel is all that much easier to win, but all the guys ranked between 3 and 7 in the ATP race went to Vienna, and we are still seeing that, as they are basically all in the event, other than Zverev, who lost to another one of them, and we'll see if Sinner manages to beat Tiafoe as well. First point goes to Rune in the tiebreaker. 3 unreturned serve. What he wants to see at the moment. We'll see if Etcheverry manages to drag him into any extended rally or not. The combination that he had a couple of in the previous game, right, for the volley and then cutting off a Holger pass, that was really good. We'll see if there's something remotely close. Wow, that's a sick point now. And Tomás Martin Etcheverry could have done more with the drive volley, but then he has some very quick reactions at the net. He's holding up really well in these spots, surprisingly, actually, because, well, as you might imagine, on clay, his net play doesn't really come up all that much. Like, he can get to the net and just cut off a volley, right? So that shows up for sure, but you don't really get these sort of points where the net is like your main idea for the point. It's not just a finish; it's just your main, your main plan to get there, and the main way you're getting to win a point or to lose a point. Now Rune is willing to trade, and he gets a backhand error from Etcheverry. The Argentinian mishits it almost completely. So now there is an error. Didn't need to do all that much Rune, but he was willing to hit these few shots in the rally and ended up taking the point. Which, for the past 20 minutes or so, we've basically seen him rushing the net on every occasion. Did he land it? Yeah, this could be these sort of narrow margins, this could be the difference between winning or losing. But it's a forehand +1 from Rune that just barely touches the line inside out. I can't say he was fortunate, that's what he was aiming at, that's what he was landing. But another sigh of relief after he hit that. And yeah, Etcheverry wasn't even sure if it was in, even though he was really close. But of course, there's electronic line calling in Basel, so there's no there's no doubt. Basically, you cannot question a call. Etcheverry gets him into a rally. His backhand clips off the net. He recovers from being pulled wide to his forehand corner and misses the slice. Another neutral rally shot. Just cannot afford that again. And it is a backhand error, which again sort of paints the picture, although this was, of course, a very different backhand to the previous one that he missed. But yeah, that's in this spot, he just isn't allowed to hit errors like that when you have the tie break and the most important moments, right? Does Etcheverry have Rune where he wants him? Not anymore. Rune is in control of the point, hitting a couple of great forehands, but he will eventually make the error. It's again Etcheverry being pulled wide to his forehand corner. He comes up with a deep response. Rune trying to half volley it down the line, and that shot is not close to landing. No way. So 4-2 up, still the Dane, but maybe he could have had something there. Wasn't far off winning this point. Certainly put Etcheverry in trouble on a few occasions, but Etcheverry gets Rune to slice of his backhand and again steps forward steps into the forecourt. This is again good awareness from the Argentinian. When he sees that Rune is gonna be forced to get the ball higher, he goes to the net, he cleans it up. We've seen a few of these points already in this match, and most of the time this works out really well for him. So definitely again good stuff. Ooh, costly error now from Rune. A block return from Etcheverry actually does make him kind of uncomfortable. And he has to hit this approach shot of the forehand. He tries to get it very, very deep. That's an ace from Rune now. So 5-4, but he is not... well, he used to have a mini break lead in this breaker. And of course doesn't anymore. But with the sort of dynamics that we've seen in this match, are we certain that Etcheverry is going to win the next 2 points on serve? Well, certain we're not. Definitely not. So it's still an opportunity for Rune, as winning either one of them will mean a match point on his own serve. That's the goal right now. And they are trading. Etcheverry goes to the Rune forehand a few times, now switches to the backhand. He is in control. He is hitting his favorite forehands. But this time, going to the net actually doesn't end up working out for him, because on a few previous occasions, Etcheverry was usually just searching for this opportunity when he knew that Rune's ball was going to be a little slower, or he has to slice it, he has to play it with more height. Here he actually didn't, and the counter from Rune was a little tough for him to control on the first volley. And eventually Rune passes him. I mean, Etcheverry still had a play on it, sort of, he touched it, but it wasn't enough. So 6-4 Rune and 2 match points with Etcheverry about to serve, but even if he wins the point, there's still going to be 1 match point on the Dane's delivery. And the deep first serve is going to give him the opportunity to try to save the second match point. This time on Holger's, of course, serve, but yeah, this match can still be even wilder if we see Etcheverry pick up the next point. You kind of know what Rune is going to try to come up with, right? Big serve, try to close down the net, probably. Or is he going to stay back this time? Unless, sort of going against what he's been doing the past 30 minutes or so, given it's such an important point. Maybe he won't be willing to go for like a 60-40 tactic. I think the serve is out, indeed. So it's going to be a second. Tries to serve and volley and doesn't make it. Yeah, on the second serve, he plays this kick serve to the Etcheverry backhand. We've seen a few returns like this from Etcheverry go cross court, right? The drop volley that Rune once didn't get right, once he did. And this time, actually, Etcheverry goes down the line. He makes Holger stretch for the volley, and the Dane cannot catch it. So we are back to 6-all. And who knows who's going to win this one now. Etcheverry again, Rune again unwilling to play the point in any other way than just serve and volley, even after the second serve. And now this is a quite a moment. 6-4, Rune probably felt like he has one leg already in the Basel semifinals, but now, and this is by the way a third top 10 match of that Etcheverry plays in his career. He hasn't won one yet. He was very close against Ruud in Beijing. Maybe he can beat Rune, the other Nordic top 10 player that we have right now in Basel. But can he? A long rally at 6-all. Oh my goodness, what a net cord. That's insane. Etcheverry putting himself in a great position with a counter cross court on his forehand side. And Rune hits this net cord at 6-all. That's ungettable. Oh my goodness. That's insane. Yeah, Etcheverry throwing his racket around, but I can't blame him. That's ridiculous. 6-all tie break point where, well, I don't know if Etcheverry had the advantage, but it was certainly at least neutral. And clearly Rune had an issue, getting the ball back over the net because it just clipped the net. It could have been easily out. And Etcheverry commits the double fault. Oh my goodness. So a 6-all net court helps Rune stay alive, and then the double fault from Etcheverry. Of course, there's no, it's not something that Tomás Martin will be blaming on Holger. He can't control it. But yeah, to lose it like that is quite brutal. And as I said, that would have been his first top 10 win. That would have been the second biggest point gain in terms of like a singular event in his career. But yeah, seeing that, I wonder if Rune has a shot against Shevchenko or Aliasim tomorrow, especially if they can sort of make the match a bit more grueling than Etcheverry did, because still it was a 3-set match, but 2 hours and a half. Lots of side. I mean, I mentioned Rune, showing the relief that he feels a few points on a few points earlier, but right now there's lots of that. Jesus, yeah, the net court for Rune here. Just brutal. And Etcheverry walks off the court. Definitely cannot be disappointed with his performance, but he can be disappointed with losing the match, as it happened in very weird fashion. We are streaming Sinner match, although it's not going to be me, it's going to be someone else, but there's going to be like a few people here. So yeah, Holger Rune is going to play Shevchenko or Aliasim. Wild finish. Wasn't expecting that. It's a shame it had to end with this net cord, right? But it is what it is. We'll see how he handles it tomorrow. That's big for him in the Turin race as well, because now even with the title, Hurkacz cannot catch him in Basel. Even if Hurkacz wins the title, he's going to be 15 points behind Rune. So this could be quite crucial going into Paris. But of course, Rune also has the chance to earn even more points. So yeah, you guys can check out the other stream that we are starting up right now with Siner Tiafo, and I'll see you on some other Talking Tennis shows. And yeah, that's gonna be it for today from me. Good match. Shame it ended like this. Bye.